Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live during the Big Brother Season 26 season. Woo! What an incredible first week. Now, we can talk about anything that y'all want tonight, but I figure we'll be talking a lot of Big Brother. I didn't get all these shadows under my eyes for nothing, watching all the live feeds so far. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Let me start off with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV. I especially love Big Brother, and I love you guys who are fans of the show, the Big Brother show, and Cliff Notes Live, and hang out here every Monday night with me. Those of you watching live and those of you watching replay, both, thank you. I appreciate the support. I truly do. More than that, I just have fun hanging with y'all. So thank you for that. Hope you are doing well. Now, we may have some new people this evening. It tends to, during the Big Brother season, ramp up a little bit in terms of attendance and all of that. So if you're new, welcome aboard. I do the morning recaps every morning. I say 20 minutes or so. They've been a little bit longer because there's 16 people in the house. A lot of conversations, but I do those every morning. But our Monday show during Big Brother season, it's just, I want to get y'all's opinions, y'all's questions. I'll talk a lot about the show. Maybe a little bit about some of my history during my season as well. Just whatever y'all feel like. All right, now before we go any further with the questions and hellos and all the fun stuff, if you haven't already done so, please consider a subscription to my channel, because if you do that and you turn on notifications every morning when I drop one of my morning recaps, you'll get notification of that. Any other crazy videos that are out there at some point during the season, you'll get those as well. So please consider subscribing, turning on notifications. And while you're out there, you know, me being the Aggie, I love the thumbs up. Always appreciate that as well. All right. That being said, let's get into it. Let me go up on these comments. I see a lot of y'all out here already. It just warms my heart. All right. Judy Coletta. How are you doing, Judy? Tim Cox, Patricia Miller, Karen Loveland, Jake the Horror Movie Geek, Michelle Moore, Tommy Flanagan. Oh, it's Tommy. I'm thinking Tommy Bracco. I'm thinking Big Brother. Tammy, how are you doing? Tammy Flanagan, Karen Hummer, Paula Scar, Bev77, Ronald Watts, Desiree Watts, Cindy Hire. Say, Cindy, how are you? Ed, see, Laura Lewis, Ma. All right, Ma's got her own video out. She's got the link posted. Y'all check it out. Ma, happy to, good luck to you. So much fun. So check out Ma's link. All right, we've got Logan Hambrick as well, Sandy O, Prince Slime, Marilyn Sutherland. Let's see. Who else do we have? Amanda Lowe. I don't think I caught you, Amanda. Carol Mosier as well. Ryan 51. Tommy Braskett. Anna Wee. Patricia Miller. All right, I think about that point. We'll call it good. Terry Thomas. I didn't want to leave you out, Terry. Or Nubby, either one. Tim Cox. All right, we'll stop it right there. And Wyatt Garrett. I could not forget my friend Wyatt Garrett. Guys, some of you may know, some of you may not. The premiere episode last Wednesday, held up in Dallas, a viewing party. Kat Dunn from my season put it on. I went up there as well. Got to hang with some other Big Brother folks, a whole lot of Big Brother fans. Wyatt came over. Had so much fun. Wyatt, I'm glad we got to spend some time together. Sorry we didn't get to spend any more than we did. Wyatt can affirm for you, I didn't sit down. I didn't get anything to eat or drink. I just had people in lines wanting to talk Big Brother. I talked to people all that long. When I did Big Brother, I really thought, well, this is going to be such a cool experience. Hopefully I'll be in there a long time and get to experience everything. But then I'll go back to work and do my own thing. Nah, it's not the way it works. Now I get to talk Big Brother with all the other passionate fans at things like the viewing party. And kind of one of my most favorite things to do. So I had a blast. Wyatt, I'm glad you were there to share it with me. Who was there? Kat was there. Cody and Jessica were there. Elena Davies was there. Meg was there. Her husband now, Mike Holloway, who won Survivor, was there. Jamil from Deal or No Deal Island. Had a blast. Y'all know we talked about Deal or No Deal Island. Had a blast talking to Jamil. Daniel and Jordan, both from The Circle, were there. We had a lot of folks. It's really cool. Had a blast doing every bit of it. But even better, here's a kicker. I was so busy talking to people, I didn't get to watch the episode. So as soon as I got home, I had it recorded, fired it up, watched it. What did y'all think about the first episode? What do you think about the first week? There is some chaos and some folks in this house, aren't there? It stresses me out seeing what some of them are going through. All right, let's see. Terry Thomas is saying, this house is wild. Absolutely. There are people that came into this season playing hard, hard play. It's really interesting that for the past few seasons, especially the first HO, let me say this before going further. If you don't want to hear spoilers, plug your ears because I'm going to be talking about spoilers. There's no way I can avoid it. So there will be spoilers. I'll be talking about things that have not necessarily been shown on the TV episodes. I just can't get around it. So I'll just give you the heads up and the warning first. The HOH for the past few years, I've always heard, and when I was in on my season, I said, man, I'm going to win the HOH if at all possible because I need something to consolidate power because I didn't feel like being the old guy that people would naturally gravitate towards me to form alliances. So I thought, gosh, I've got to have it. But really, for these past few seasons, Frenchie, Riley, and now Angela, sometimes being the first HOH, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? Especially when you get a little HOH-itis and a little bit of that power goes to your head. There have been people the last few seasons that go home very quickly after their first HOH. Don't know if that'll happen this season or not, but it has been so crazy. We had so much fun. We went up to that premiere party, came back to Houston, watched the Thursday night episode. Live feeds came on right after that. And I've been watching live feeds ever since. Not easy without the rewind feature now missing. So if you don't see it live, you don't see it unless someone posts a little clip out on social media or something. So I've been sitting here with the TV playing. I've had for a while the TV playing, the computer playing, with one of them playing the channel for 2 rooms, the other one playing the channel for the other 2 rooms, and trying to go back and forth and keep track. Has not been easy, but I've had so much fun learning these house guests. It's amazing. A week ago, we didn't even know who they were. And now I feel like I know everything there is to know about them. I know their names, their personalities, their strategies. And it's hard to remember. We're only in the first week. By the time you get to the end of this season, the first 4 or 5 people, the ones who didn't even make it to jury, we're going to be saying, gosh, I forgot about that person. I don't even remember that person. We're so early in the process. Yeah, it's my favorite time of the year, and I know a lot of y'all feel the same way. All right, Karen Hummer saying, why can't people with secret powers keep them secret? What was Quinn thinking? I know it. I don't know why silence. Information is gold in the Big Brother house, and people, especially this early in the season. Now, if it's late in the season, if during my season, if week 7 or 8, I'd gotten some kind of power or advantage, I would have told Nicole, because by then you kind of learned to develop some trust. You've got the alliances solidified. You know who you can trust, who you can't trust, and who maybe is somewhere there in the middle. At that point in time, maybe it's a little bit different. But the first week, the first couple of days, Quinn tells Angela that he's got this power. And I understand why he did it. He's got this huge advantage. Angela is HOH. It makes sense that the 2 people both approach each other, bringing something to the table. And it would then become natural to say, well, let's work together and use this as a basis, as a stepping stone to form an alliance of some sort. I get why he did it, but there's so much uncertainty. You don't know if you're going to like working with that person, if you can trust that person. I think Quinn's regretting it just a little bit at this point in time. They also today told Chemo about the power. MJ Mackenzie has told her non-showmance. She keeps saying we're not a showmance, and maybe not, but she has told Matt. She's told Leah about the powers. It's gonna get out. It's going to get out, and it's even tougher when there's only a limited number of people who could potentially have those powers. During our season, we had those whacktivities. I was in the first week's whacktivities that Ovi won, which good for Ovi, but I wish he'd told me. But Ovi didn't even tell me. Now, he did tell Christy and Jack and Jackson Mickey. He would have done much better telling me than those 3 knuckleheads, but whatever. He tried to keep the information secret. Christy told me about her power and used it to kind of extort my HOH a little bit. But yeah, it is what it is. But people just can't keep their mouths shut. Yeah, a perfect example during my season. Christy overheard me. You remember, I think probably y'all heard of this before, that she's walking by the boat room. I'm sitting there jabbing away, and she hears me. She went right back and told everyone in the alliance. As a result, she lost a lot of her power. If she hadn't said a word, she could have held that over my head, and who knows what she maybe could have gotten me to do, or made me nervous enough that I would have worked a little bit more with her. Keep your information quiet and secret. Lisa is doing a decent job of it in the house this season. If you notice, when she talks to people, she'll say, "Who do you trust? Who do you want to work with?" And people will tell her, but then she'll turn right around and not tell them. They'll ask her, "Oh, I can't tell you that." Now, sometimes if you're asking people to give information and you don't give it back, that creates a level of mistrust that may come back and bite you as well. And I'm afraid Lisa may be in that position. I think there's a better way that you can ask, but there are people in this house that very much are not giving up a lot of information. They're just sitting there and they're listening. There's people like Cam. Cam is in his house. I barely have talked to him, about him on the morning feeds, because he's not throwing out a lot of strategies, but I know he's absorbing every bit of it. T-Core is another one who's doing like this. During these first couple of weeks, I think it's a lot more important to be listening than it is to be talking. And some people are doing that better than others in this house. There's some people in this house who really like to talk, right? Imagine that for a Big Brother house guest. All right, Judy Coletta is saying, the eviction is coming up Thursday. It is Thursday, right? We don't have the schedule completely solidified, but I assume so. The eviction is coming up. We'll have the AI BB arena, whatever they're calling it, to contend with, as the 3 nominees will enter. One will escape, and the block giving us the final 2 for the week. Kind of reading that little stutter as I go through, but yeah, you're absolutely right. They're going to have the AI BB arena, 3 nominees going in. One person gets a second opportunity to save themselves. Now, we already had the veto competition, and Lisa won the veto. And again, remember, I'm giving that spoilers here. They had the veto ceremony today, and as expected, Lisa pulled herself off. So we already have one of those 3 nominees who has been able to save her own rear end. We're getting ready to have another one at this point in time, and then that'll leave the final 2. Now, here's what I've heard. And if y'all have heard differently, please correct me, because I'm still trying to get all the information. I've heard that this AI arena comp isn't going to take place until right before the eviction. Now, I don't know if that means Thursday, 30 minutes before the live episode, if it means Wednesday night. The impression I get is it's so quick that no one's going to have time to do a whole lot of discussion or strategizing. You'll have 3 people competing, almost like a live battle back of some sort. You'll have 3 people competing. Someone is saved. The other 2 people immediately go and sit down in their chairs, and one of them goes home. That's kind of the way I'm envisioning, and I could be wrong, but that's the way I'm envisioning it, which makes it tough, because then there's a lot more variations of, who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to vote for? Well, I don't know. It depends on if it's these 2 or if it's these 2 in the house. It can really influence a lot of what the final vote is, and not have as much consensus going in. People have complained for a long time about they hate the house voting together. You'll probably have a little bit less of that this season because of the way it works. So yeah, I'm excited to see what this BB arena is going to be. Is it going to be some kind of a themed competition that you almost, that's every week it's going to be a mental competition, or something that looks very futuristic? We just don't know yet. And that kind of makes it exciting. Now, here is one thing. I was thinking about this. We all love the twist sometimes, right? The one thing that worries me a little bit about this twist with the AI arena is it means that there's no backdoor, true backdoor that's going to exist this season as long as you've got the BB arena. Because, for example, this week, if you didn't have that existing, Lisa pulled herself off the block. Angela then put up Matt. Matt would not have a chance to compete. He would be going to eviction night, one of the 2 chairs, no matter what. That is a true backdoor situation. We're not going to have that now, because Matt's going to have the chance to compete in this final competition to save himself. And as a result, the guys, I say guys and gals who tend to be the ones that are favored to win these competitions, comp beasts, things like that, it may make it people a little bit more hesitant to put them on the block, knowing that they're going to have 2 chances at this point in time to try to save themselves. The regular veto competition and the BB arena. As a result, you may not want to put someone up that's super strong because there's a better chance they're going to be able to save themselves, and then they're going to be coming after you the next week. So we'll see if it affects game plan, having that extra chance to save yourself. Yeah, sometimes there's extra repercussions that maybe people don't always think about. We'll see. All right, Ronald Watts is saying, I believe Matt is the biggest manipulator in the game. There's a few of them in there, but I will say this. Matt's very confident. We'll use that word. I do think he's a great manipulator. I also think Matt may be a little gullible at times. And part of it is just trying to feel your way around this house and getting used to the world of Big Brother. They're brand new to it. They're going to turn into veterans here pretty quick. But I feel like Matt, on the one hand, kind of as a negative, he buys whatever people say to him. If they come up and say, "Oh, we want to work with you. Please, Matt, we want to work with you. We want to be part of your team." I think his ego lets him accept that as being true because he wants that to be true. And I think that's a little bit of a danger. I know he had talked before about how Angela, even after this big blow up they had on Saturday, that she'd come back and wanted to work with them. And it wasn't the case, but he thought that was the situation. That's the negative. The positive is, I agree with you. I do think he's a great manipulator. He's got stories to tell. He's got ways to make people feel very comfortable when they're around him. He talked to Angela and told her a story about his mom working at Chick-fil-A, that she's a first-generation Filipino immigrant, and all that she's done for Matt. Incredible story. Is it true? I assume so, but I don't know. I mean, he had her very invested. Now, as it turns out, they both walk away and they both basically still are going after each other. So yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I think Matt's done a fantastic job of trying to just use charisma to get people on his side. Sometimes if you overdo it too much, that charisma crosses over into that line of arrogance, and he's riding that line right now. But yeah, Matt, he certainly has been a topic of conversation, considering that Matt's not HOH. He didn't win any competitions until he got put on the block today. He hadn't done anything that anyone else hadn't done, and yet he just managed to make himself a focal point. Him versus Angela, Angela versus him. It's made it fun, right? We don't have any one huge alliance, and everyone else is just getting picked off one by one like my season. You've got all this fluidity of a lot of different people thinking they maybe are in alliance, maybe not. Who can we trust? Who can we not trust? It'll settle out in another week or two. But for right now, trying to keep track of who belongs to who's working with who has been difficult, but that's all right. That's what we come here for. All right, Mike Bertulli is saying, just wait until Angela is not HOH. Big problem, not your problem. And Tommy Gasket is saying, Brasket, sorry, Tommy, is saying Angela is playing too hard, too fast. I agree. I don't have any issue with her winning HOH. She's the older woman in the house. She probably felt a little vulnerable. She wanted to prove herself up. Go win that HOH. No issue whatsoever with that. I just don't feel like she's building bridges like you need to as your first HOH. Instead of building bridges, instead of working on relationships, she's looking for people standing behind her with knives ready to strike, right? I think she's let the paranoia get the best of her. She goes up in the room and says, "I know what you're doing." And she's so happy because she thinks she's got people figured out. Unfortunately, sometimes she doesn't quite have it figured out. And I do feel like she's so busy looking behind her to see who's coming after her that she's not looking forward to see what her path to victory is going forward. Matt, they just didn't vibe for whatever reason. He was a target. Maybe everyone needs a target right off the bat, perceived or real, either way. But it's not just Matt that she's had issues with. Joseph was really tight. I mean, they were like this, and she accused him of basically kind of cheating, stealing her tiles on the veto competition. So he's a little upset with her. Cedric was talking last night and said, "Yeah, Angela doesn't want to work with me. She thinks I betrayed her. So, Cedric's another one. Quinn, we see him kind of wishing maybe he hadn't told her about his power. She's burning bridges instead of building them, right? And there's my little philosophical deal. She is definitely playing hard. I think it was Kenny and Matt that were talking, saying if Angela is handling being in power, having the HOH like this, what is she going to be like when she's on the block and potentially going home? That's going to be a whole different issue all of itself. She reminds me in a lot of ways of Christy from my season. I'm not saying necessarily strategy or anything else, although she and Christy both won the first HOH. But just the fact that she seems to be a very emotional roller coaster type player. When she's up, she's up. When she's down, and there's not a whole lot in the middle for Angela. She's either crying or cheering and smiling, and she is living her experience. Now, it may only be a couple of weeks worth of experience, but she is living her Big Brother experience to the absolute max. And enjoy your time. She may figure it out. I predicted that she was the first boot just based on interviews and everything else, because I saw a little too much excitement, if that's possible. I just saw it and thought that would be an issue for her. I think she got a little lucky with the first. It's never lucky when you win HOH. I mean, she earned it. But being HOH helps her survive at least the first week. Second week, we'll find out. But she's made the feeds fun. I don't know how many of y'all were watching. We were watching live on Saturday morning, just thinking, they're waking up. They're going to have the veto draw. They'll go to the animals here in a second. She gets halfway down the stairs and starts calling out Matt. And at first we thought it was just a bit that she was doing. Then after a while, it's like, she's really upset. And then we saw that she'd practiced in her bed the night before. Yeah, she got the Saturday morning started with a lot of chaos and drama. All right, Tina Warner is saying Angela will go home next week. I could see that. I could see it. Of course, it depends on who wins the next HOH, but I think that's absolutely possible, and I'll even say maybe likely. Again, we've had Riley and Frenchie, and now her. She won't be the first that kind of burns out quickly. Ma is saying Tucker is pro Angela. He's probably the most pro Angela so far, right? I mean, he came in when she was crying and really feeling down, and he told her, said, hey, if you need a shoulder to cry on, my shoulders are jacked, and go for it. And he has really gravitated towards Angela and supporting her. And I'll say this, Tucker's his own personality. Tucker's a lot of fun to watch as well. I think Tucker, for better or worse, and jury's still out, in my opinion, a little bit on Tucker, but I like the guy. I like him. I think he's got a good heart. I think he is empathetic to other people, and he saw Angela hurting. And so I think because of that, he gravitated towards her. It hasn't helped or hurt his relationship with her that he found out or heard that Matt had suggested that maybe Tucker could go up as a replacement nominee, just as a pawn. Yeah, you're not going anywhere, Tucker, but go up on the block so I don't have to. That certainly didn't help Tucker get any closer, tighter with Matt. Those guys had a final two alliance within. Well, at least Tucker offered it. Matt never took it seriously. But within the first couple of days, they were already talking about final two. That alliance blew up pretty quick, right? Yet again, that's why you don't give too much deep secret information to anyone else this early, because you just don't know who you can work with or not. Tucker's got beef with Matt, so he's supporting Angela. He has major beef with Lisa, the two cooks in the house, going at it. He just does not like Lisa whatsoever. There's other people that are kind of, I don't know, I saw a lot of the ladies in the bathroom questioning whether Lisa is even a real chef. That's got to hurt when she gets out and hears that they were talking about that with her food. So there's a lot of people that aren't real comfortable with Lisa right now, but Tucker definitely is ready for Lisa to go. He's a have-not this week. He's already said that if he gets to pick a have-not for the following week, which we've seen in the past few seasons, that he's going to pick Lisa and force her to go on slop for a week. I'm living for that. That's going to be fun to see how that little battle shapes up. You know what makes me think of? Tucker and Lisa reminds me a little bit of Turner and Jasmine from a couple of seasons ago. Now, I don't know that Turner and Jasmine necessarily, I don't ask them, I don't know that they had the same level of hatred. I think they were just kind of playing a little animosity towards each other. I think Tucker really does not like Lisa. He also doesn't like people that snore, as we discovered last night. I feel so bad. Tucker's up there, but in the have-not room, right between Chemo on one side and who was on the other side? Who was the other snorer? Y'all help me out. I can't remember the other. Chemo and drawing a blank. Anyway, they're snoring away, and he's like, "Come on, bro, come on." Oh, Cam and Chemo up. They're snoring away. He tried to wake him up. They'd wake up for just a second, fall back asleep. A lot of snoring kept him up all night long. Hate to say it, but I would have been one of those snorers up there as well, irritating Tucker all the way through. All right, let's see. YTC JC Star 1015. Hey, YTCJ said, I feel the whole house is against Angela and Lisa is dramatic. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with either one of those. Lisa is she likes to be heard, and she likes to throw her opinion out there. She likes to have a certain influence. Now that she won veto and is feeling a little bit more safe, more secure, more full of herself, she certainly has been going around talking to a lot of people and trying to get information. And I don't know what her relationship with Angela is. She was so upset at Angela when she got put on a block, as she has told everyone multiple times. She was completely blindsided. She thought she was good with Angela. So certainly no love lost there. But then for a while, it seemed like she wanted to work with Angela and maybe be her eyes and ears and work with her. And now I'm not sure that's necessarily the case. But Lisa's certainly out there talking to as many people. She's talked before about getting nominated, kind of lit a fire under her, and now she's working hard and all that. I'll give her credit. She's trying. She's trying so much harder than Kenny. Chemo thinks he's safe, and I think he probably is. So I'm not sure that he's needed to campaign as much. And I hope that's all the case. I hope this isn't his full court campaigning, because Chemo hasn't said or done a whole lot that would make me want to keep him in the house. He's approached a lot of people, said, "What can I do to help your game?" without really being proactively telling people how he can help them out. He's kind of been the Eeyore of campaigners so far. But again, he feels like he's safe, so I'll give him a little bit of a pass for that. Kenny, in fact, even just this afternoon, Kenny was saying, "Yeah, you know what? I don't want to go up against Matt. Matt's my number one ally. And so, yeah, if it's just the two of us at the end, maybe I'll let Matt have it and y'all keep him. And then Matt can go after you, Angela." Yeah, Angela didn't like hearing that much at all. But Kenny is already doing the talk about, I've enjoyed my time here. I've done what I needed to do. No, you haven't. You've been here a week. This game's barely started. You fight, you give it everything you can. You don't accept that defeat or the defeatist attitude. It's kind of a little disappointed to see that, but everyone has their low moments, and hopefully that doesn't last through Thursday. He's just taking a break or just having his moment right here. All right. Pink Pillow is saying, "Hey, Pink, what a name." Pink Pillow saying, can you sneak back into the house this season? Yeah. Just launch me over the back wall. I'll come in on a parachute or a hang glider. Wouldn't that get their attention? Or just land on the roof. They keep, I don't think this is secret information. During the season, they keep people on the roof, out on the fence lines, in places to watch for people who may show up and try to yell or throw something over the fence, throw a cake with a file in it or something. They keep people watching because there's a lot of very passionate fans that would love it. Send me back into the house. I'd line these people up. I'd tell them what it was like and what they need to be doing and not doing. They probably wouldn't trust me or believe me or anything else. But it's hard having been in the house, and because I know, heck, I got caught talking loud and all that. I had my own issues, but having been through a full season, now I look back and realize all the things they're doing wrong. Just they're playing too hard, too fast. They're telling too many people too many things. They're not realizing we've got 13 weeks ahead of us. That's a long time to be playing Big Brother. And yet they're acting as though everything has to happen this week. This week determines that. No, it doesn't. There's enough twist going on and everything else that at this point in time, build your relationships. And building relationships isn't necessarily the same as building alliances. Angela is getting upset because people would dare to set up an alliance against her. Matt and some of the people he's pulling in. It happens. It always happens. Except that there are going to be people that want to work with you, and there's going to be people who are working against you. And that's the nature of the game of Big Brother. But just because that's the case doesn't mean that you can't approach those people working against you and saying, look, I know maybe we're not like this right now, but somewhere down the road that may change. And I just know I respect you and your game. And if things change, I'd love the opportunity to maybe be able to do something with you. Let's not make this personal at this point in time. Let's just, even though we're on different sides, maybe we can still keep an eye out for each other. There's things that you can do to build relationships with people in that house, even if you aren't necessarily on the same page in terms of alliances and everything else. And that's where you may not see the benefits now, but a few weeks from now, that person on the other side may be the one that's deciding whether or not you're going home that week. And I don't think Angela's doing that. She's too focused on you're either with me or against me, and there's no in between on it. And I think that's a short-term strategy that's not going to pay off on down the road. You can't get paranoid. You can't get upset when there's people that are on their knees worshiping you because you're HOH. It's not the way it works in Big Brother. All right. Ronald is saying, love the first week. Don't know what to expect day by day. I agree with you 100%. It's sometimes you have the first couple of days, people are doing so much, they're trying to form alliances, and then everything settles down. Some seasons you've got people that are just trying to see who else is going to pull the trigger first. See, Chaz is saying, do you think the feeds will stay this good for a while, or do you expect it to settle down fairly quickly? Yeah, that's a good follow-up. I expect it to settle down for the next couple of days, right? We just had the veto ceremony. We know who the three people are that are at least going into this BB arena. We've got typically, and I don't know how the arena comp affects this, but they should have the backyard for another, what time is that? 7:30 Houston time, 5:30 their time. They should have the backyard for another 12 hours or so. So I really expect, for the most part, they should be out there enjoying the backyard, getting in the fresh air, chilling out as much as they can. Tuesday, hang out. Don't do anything to rock the boat. Come Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, even Wednesday morning, then you get these three start doing some campaigning and all that. And then they'll start ramping up as people start thinking about the eviction, the HOH competition on Thursday, and working out plans and everything else. But normally you get this ebb and flow where right around the HOH and the nomination and the veto comp, which is in a 3-day period, everything's hectic. Then it settles down a little bit until the next week starts. With these house guests, these feeds, I don't know if we're going to get that. I think there's going to be people every single day that are fighting and pushing and trying to see what kind of advantage they can get or force or whatever. Eventually, here after a couple of weeks, you're going to see the alliances solidify a little bit more. We're going to have a better feel of who's on whose side, and we'll know who the floaters are. We'll know who's dedicated to one side or the other. And at that point in time, the strategy changes a little bit, because then it's just going to be, let's make sure one of our people wins HOH. And if so, what do we do? If the other side wins HOH, how do I protect myself? You start making plans based on who's going to win this next HOH. We're not there right now. Right now, we still have people just looking around. Y'all ever been bowling alleys, skating rinks, places like that, where they have that machine that you get in with all the dollar bills that are just blowing everywhere at the fans, and they say you've got 60 seconds to grab as much money as you want, and people are just going crazy. It's everywhere. You can't grab it. You try and hold it against your clothes. I think that's where we're at right now with Big Brother. People are just looking around. They're seeing everyone else trying to form alliances, everyone else scurrying around, and they're doing the same thing. They're just grabbing. They're grasping at anything they can find, trying to find a place to land, trying to make sure that they're not the one who is left out this week and going forward. So I think there's a little bit of desperation in a lot of people's eyes right now, a little bit of being a little more aggressive. we saw in the HOH competition at one of the first rounds, they said, all right, I think it's the first round. Everyone has to be in teams of 3. If you grab your other 2 people, if you can't find anyone, you 2 people who don't have a third partner, you're out. And it's just immediately people grab whoever's next to them. It doesn't matter strategy or anything else. I just don't want to be one of those 2 people that doesn't have people to compete with. I feel it's the same way with the alliances a little bit. That'll settle down. We'll get a little more stability, but until we do, it's chaos, and I'm here for it. It has been a fun week. It's a smile. All right, Logan Hambrick is saying, do you feel that Matt is playing too hard as well? Yeah, oh yeah. I think there's a couple of issues I've got with Matt. One, I think he's trying to do too much. I think sometimes you can influence from the rear, if that makes sense. You don't always have to be the person at the front that's the figurehead. Sometimes I think it's worth saying, yeah, you can still influence and get people to go with what you want done, but let them take the lead a little bit. So not all the weight's on your back. And I don't know that he's done as much with that. He's got Leah and MJ that are just there, really seeming to be very much on board with them. I would have maybe backed off a little bit in terms of some of my stuff and let them do a little bit more. In some ways, I think he's playing a little too hard, a little too aggressively. But I also think he's playing a little, and I don't know if it's because of cockiness or just he's still getting used to the game. But I would not stay in a storage room for 3 hours holding a conversation. I would not be in that pedal room talking to only 2 people for hours on end. Because first of all, other people are going to notice it. The whole reason Angela had her meltdown is because she knew that Matt was with these, Leah and MJ, and she recognized it. And so do other people also. So when you do it like that, 1, people are going to notice. They're going to wonder what you're up to. They're going to make assumptions about your connections to those people. 2, when you're spending that much time talking just a handful of people, it means you're not out talking to the other people. And that's important as well. Again, not everyone that you're building a relationship is because they're in your alliance right now. You just want to kind of spread the wealth, share the wealth, so to speak. And that's what I tried to do during my season was, even though I was never really working with Jack. I mean, there's a lot of people in my season that I didn't work with, or Sis especially, but I still went and tried to hang out with them and tried to make sure that we were on okay terms, that we could at least say good morning to each other and all of that. And I like the idea that someone would say, well, yeah, we're going to get rid of Cliff. He's a nice guy, but we're going to get rid of him. Well, at least I've achieved one hurdle by having them liking me and feeling bad that they're sending me out the door. That just makes it that much easier to figure out that second half of the problem. And I'm not sure that Matt has necessarily done that as well as he should. He's too focused on the people, just like Angela. He's too focused on the people that he feels are loyal to him, while discounting the people that are not. I know they were talking about Rabina last night, and should we bring her in? And one of the comments was, she doesn't bring enough to the table. She doesn't bring enough to the game. It's not about that. She's a vote, and she talks to other people, whether you think she does or not. So, yeah, I think Angela and Matt both are guilty of playing a little too hard, too fast. Maybe they'll change. Maybe they won't. Maybe that's just their only speed that they've got. And they'll do this until week 2 or 13, however long they last. And if they make it to the end, well, we may have a whole different kind of champion. I just don't see how you could do it. We watch people who are president of the United States, and in 4 years, 8 years, their hair falls out. It turns gray. They get wrinkles where you never saw them before. I feel Big Brother's the same way. I think after 13 weeks, you can't go at this pace. You've got to be able to chill and relax. And they aren't doing that. You know who's doing that right now? Cam's doing that. T-Core's doing that. Chelsea's doing that. It's to some degree. There are people in this house. Joseph, he's been involved in a lot of stuff, but he still has a little bit of a chill demeanor. I think there's people in this house who understand that you can be involved, you can be watching, but that doesn't mean that you have to get your blood pressure up 200 over 150 or something every single day. You just can't last that long. They'll figure it out. And again, they're all brand new. They're all newbies. Not for long. Those who survive will, it's like the Hunger Games. A lot of people go home early on the Hunger Games, but if you survive that first day's onslaught, you get a lot smarter about the way to play the game. Same way with Big Brother. All right, Mr. Brown Bear 147. Tucker looks like Dean Stockwell. I have heard so many different things. Tucker just must be what do you call it, doppelganger or something. He looks like everyone. I put out on Instagram that I thought he looked like a young William Dafoe, one of my favorite actors. A Platoon, it was just incredible. I think Dafoe is a fantastic actor. I see a lot of Tucker and William Dafoe. A lot of people are saying Jim Carrey, and I think Tucker had actually said he thought he looked a little bit like Jim Carrey. When he opens his mouth, he does. He absolutely does. But I've also heard, I feel like William Dafoe. Dean Stockwell's a good one. James Franco, I've heard. James Dean, I've heard as well. And there may be one or two others. I guess he just has a look of a lot of different people. Tucker's fun. It's not just his looks. He just looks like different people, but his mannerisms and the way he talks and the jokes he tells. I've seen several people who've said he's a little bit like Enzo or Zach Rance, and I see that as well from a personality standpoint. He's always willing to share his opinion, for better or for worse. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And now keep this in mind. My preseason cast assessment, I picked Matt to win it. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm really feeling that comfortable with that pick. I picked Angela to be the first boot. Well, she won't be first, but I still think there's a chance she could be second. And I picked Tucker to be the America's favorite. I don't know if he'll be America's favorite, but I can see him being right up there at the top. We'll see. We'll see how my predictions go. But Tucker's been fun to watch. He's always got something to say that's a little witty or a little silly, or just saying something that we as viewers probably are thinking at the same time. When he's laying there and you hear the stereo snoring on either side of him, and the look on his face where he just said, bro, I just need earplugs, bro. You can relate to that. I love Tucker. I think he's been fun so far. All right, TV Talks with Tom. Hey, Tom, how are you doing? Good luck on your show as well. Perfect time of year, right? TV Talks is saying, hope you're enjoying the season so far. I am enjoying the season, but just like the house guests playing too hard and too fast, it's marathon. I feel the same way with my live feeds viewing. Without having the rewind function, I find myself watching all the time, and I think I'm going to pay the price for it. I should have been hibernating for a lot longer than I did in order to be prepared for this particular season. These people, these live feeds, you're going to see me. I've told plenty of people my favorite shows or horror movies are zombies, the Walking Dead, Dawn of the Dead. I'm going to look like one of those freaking zombies by the time we get done with this season. You're just going to be holding my eyes open with toothpicks as I watch these live feeds. And yet I'll still do it because I love the game of Big Brother. Yeah, it's going to be a long season. It's going to drain the energy from all of us. But so far, so good, Tom. All right, Robert Allen is saying, funny how Matt says he feels bad for Chemo and Kenny. But one is going home, but he's actually the one going home. Yeah, I just don't have a feel for who's going home yet. I think it could easily be Matt, but he's also charismatic enough. Maybe he'll grab people. I think that Kenny, unless he wins, and he better try. He better try in this BB Arena. I think unless Kenny wins the let's see. Yeah, I think unless Kenny wins this BB Arena competition, he probably is the odds-on favorite to go home. I think if it's him versus Matt, and a long time before Thursday, but I think between him and Matt may capture enough votes to save him over Kenny. If it's Kenny versus Chemo, I think Chemo wins that one somewhat going away. So yeah, I think Kenny's the one most at risk. I think Chemo's probably the safest. If it's Chemo versus Matt, I think Matt could go home on that one. That's my pecking order right now. Matt better be aware that it's not as easy as he's. I don't know if he really believes that, or it's just his bravado that's talking. Now he told MJ at one point, said, "Look, I know you've got the secret power. I know you've got America's veto, but don't use it on me because first of all, I'd rather win it myself and pull myself off the block. And two, even if I don't do that, I think I've got enough votes to stay. Well, there's a very fine line between being confident and being cocky, and I think he may have crossed that line right there. Now, I don't know how hard I would be pushing for MJ to use that power right now because it's new. You don't know what America is. America may turn right around and vote him right back in anyway. I don't know if they can do that or not, but I get why MJ did not use the veto power today. But if I'm Matt, I'm going to be a little bit more worried about it. And maybe he is. Maybe that's just him trying to present the most confident front. Maybe he's just doing it just to make Angela more and more irritated. That's what I'd be doing. If I'm Matt, every time I'm talking to Angela, I'm saying, "Nah, I got it. I'll see you next week, Angela, and then we'll play the game." Just poke her. If I'm Matt, I'm poking her every chance I get. We'll see. All right, hold on a second. Let's see. I always forget to do this, and I'm not going to forget that. Dr. Bose, thank you so much for the, I guess we call it super stickers. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. It means a lot. It says, have you seen that Angela was on Dr. Phil? I just saw that mentioned. I haven't watched the episode. I don't know anything about that. Why does that not surprise me? I certainly want to go look it up and see. No, thank you, Dr. Bose, for pointing that out. And if you got more information, send it to me because I'd love to see that episode. You know, sometimes you come out looking good on Dr. Phil. A lot of times, not so much. But I'm gonna have to check Angela out. And then Karen Hummer. Karen, thank you. You've been a loyal fan, supporter for so long. I appreciate it. Thank you. Wow, both of y'all. Y'all know I do this show just as a labor of love, right? It's because I'm such a huge fan of Big Brother, and it allows me to continue to interact about the show. But I always appreciate the support, and it means a lot to me. Karen said, for Stay Awake Coffee, thanks for the recaps. I've been drinking a bit of coffee. I will tell you that much. I've got a whole dishwasher filled with coffee cups because it's just one after the other. I gave up soft drinks, man. I'm drinking those too, but a whole lot of caffeine going into my system right now. All right, 7:52. I knew we were going to have a lot to talk about tonight. All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? Bing Bong. Hey, Bing Bong says, I think that Quinn is playing a good game so far. I think so, too. I think people like him. I don't know anyone. As soon as I say that, someone's going to point out someone who doesn't like. I think most people like Quinn. Now, there may be a few people who trust him more than others, but I think Quinn he's a fun character. I said at the beginning when I did my assessment that he was my wild card. I didn't know whether I'd really like him, really dislike him, somewhere in the middle. Kind of liking Quinn. He's a charismatic person. I think he's positioned himself well. He's got a power. He was talking about, this is brilliant. I don't know they'll do this, but his power allows him to hijack someone's HOH. He was talking about how he would love to win HOH next week and then hijack his own HOH. And use it to put up some really big targets. Angela, Matt, I'm not even sure who all he's talking about, but put up some huge targets. He could do that, and no one's going to ever think it's him because he's also the HOH. So he could act all offended that someone hijacked my HOH. I lost it completely. And meanwhile, go after these big targets. That's kind of a brilliant move. Now, unfortunately, he's told a few people it only takes one to say, well, you had the power. I know it. You know, saying something like that as they're walking out the door, and it defeats everything that he wants to do. He should have kept his mouth shut. But no, I like Quinn. I like Quinn as a person. I like Quinn as a player. I like Quinn in terms of how he's positioned himself within the different groups. Heck, we may even get a showmance. Did you see Quinn and Leah kind of hanging out and talking a little bit? We'll see. It's interesting we haven't had showmances yet. Heck, during my season, by the first week, we had 6 couples or 7 couples. 7 out of 6. That's kind of but yeah, we had a lot of people hooking up. So certainly this is a different season. It's because they're so focused on playing the game. Mine had way too many that just thought they were there playing Love Island or something. Different game, but they didn't care. But yeah, we'll see. I like Quinn. I absolutely like Quinn. All right, what else do we have on here in that last 5 minutes? So Bill A is saying, but Lisa uses edible glitter. She has to stay, LOL. For the fun of it, yeah, she probably uses edible glitter, drinkable glitter. Tucker, with another one of his great comments, said, "Who drinks glitter?" I don't know. She brought in edible glitter. Kat, during our season, brought in poopery for the bathroom. I'm going to give the mark to the Kat for being the most practical in terms of the extra accessories that someone thought to bring into the house. I don't know if I want to eat a steak that has glitter all over it. That's just going to make me think that they just killed a sweaty cow or something. So I don't know. But if you're working in a really fancy restaurant and you're eating $500 Kobe steaks or something, I still don't think I want glitter. But I don't expect to have glitter food. I'm not going to trust any food that has glitter on it while I'm in the Big Brother house. So we'll just leave it at that. But hey, she's a chef. So do what you do well. Or what you don't do so well, apparently, as a few of the women have vocalized. All right. Kathy Foy, NM, is saying, is that New Mexico? Says, seems the house guests are very aware of being on TV. Perhaps the game will settle into a rhythm. Was it like that for you? Yeah, I guess. During the first week or so, we're all aware of the TV cameras to some degree. But I know Leah has already said that she's forgotten that they're there. You get used to them really quick, unless you're actively looking for them. I remember a few times that I'd walk in and Kat and Jessica were in the bed talking to the cameras. And obviously I talk to the cameras in the morning. So there's times where you're very aware of it. But you walk by all those windows, the one-way mirrors, and you just forget there's cameras behind there. I'd notice it in the middle of the night when I was going to the bathroom and I could hear all the cameras following. But for the most part, you forget they're there in terms of just watching you. And then after a while, you forget that they're there recording what you say, which can be a little dangerous, right? We've seen people who screw up pretty badly because they say maybe what they should be saying on the live feeds. But you do get used to it pretty quickly because your brain is so focused not on those cameras, but on who's in that room. What are they saying? Who's watching me? Where are people that are spying on me? You've got so many other things going on in there that having cameras just becomes the status quo, the normal situation, and you learn to accept it pretty quick. By the end, I didn't care. I was sitting there, if a Big Brother, you want to film me sleep in my underwear, whatever. And when I first was there, I'd pull on a pair of shorts before I went in to go to the bathroom or something. By the end of it, it's like, get your kicks if you want, Big Brother. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I'm coming back, and it is what it is. Yeah, you adapt, just like playing the game itself. You adapt to the situation of those cameras everywhere. And after a while, it just doesn't seem that weird or that unusual. But yeah, for the first week or so, you're definitely aware of it. And I think you're right. I think a lot of them are very aware of it at this point in time. I've seen a few times where they've kind of looked and winked and done a few things like that. So we got some smart players in the house this season. All right, what else do we have on here? Colton is saying, first time catching a live Cliff Notes. How you doing? Well, Colton, I'm doing fantastic now that you're in here as well. Thank you. I appreciate it. My morning recaps is just me talking to the camera. I like these as much. Obviously, I'm still doing a whole lot of talking, especially because I'm trying to squeeze so much into an hour. But I love answering questions and having a little bit more interaction. And having said that, while I'm thinking of it, I can't answer all the questions that are tonight. If you've got a question about either how Big Brother works from a production standpoint or rules standpoint, or you want to know what I think about such and such player or something, send me a DM. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Find me out there. Send it to me, and I'll almost certainly answer it and give you my thoughts, my opinions, as long as you give me yours as well. It doesn't have to be just Cliff Notes Live, but yeah, I appreciate Colton because I love coming out here and doing this show every Monday night. Maybe we could do it more than 1 week a night, except I'm so wiped out from watching these live feeds. Maybe somewhere way down the end of the season where we only have a few less people and a few less activities during the night. It's hard keeping up with 16 people. I still don't understand how they have opportunities to get so much private time with each other. When I was in that house, there was no privacy. I would be in the boat room. I'd be in the bathroom. I'd be in the shower. There's people coming up to talk to me. Yeah, in the shower, 8 o'clock in the morning. There's still people coming trying to talk to me. That's why I would get up early in the morning because that was my absolute only private time in that house. It's crazy when you've got that many people in there. And it just builds up the stress level that much more. All right, guys, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and call it good. It's 8 o'clock. I got live feeds to turn on. Who knows what we missed in the last hour? So we'll shut it down for now, but I'll be dropping my recaps every morning. So please check those out. And it's a lot easier to do if you sign up with the subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and then you'll get a little beep and okay, Cliff just published another one. I try to do those early enough in the morning that people on the East Coast can maybe watch them on their way to work, things like that. Depending on what happens in the evening, sometimes it's a little earlier than other times, but I try. Just trust me, I always try. Turn on your notifications and you don't have to worry about it. You'll know as soon as it's out there. So thank you guys. Y'all have a fantastic week. Send me some DMs if you got questions. Check out my morning recaps every morning, and I'll be back next Monday. And who knows who's going to be on the block, what's going to be going on there. It's going to be fun, though, I guarantee. Guys, have a great one. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Big brother. Oh, it's my favorite time of the year. Guys, y'all have a great one. I will talk to y'all again soon. Cheers, my friends.